The Monday Night Raw, right before Saturday night's main event, we had a ton of Money in the Bank qualifier matches. We had new members to factions. We also had a major injury during one of the matches that was taking place on Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to D Loves Wrestling. Before we get started into the review of Monday Night Raw, drop a comment, drop a like, and drop a subscribe to the channel as we post daily wrestling content. And without further ado, let's get into what I thought about this past Monday Night Raw right before this Saturday night's main event coming up this weekend. The show started off with Logan Paul calling out Jey Uso and basically saying how he is going to dethrone Jey Uso as the World Heavyweight Champion. But Gunther can't hear all this nonsense from Logan Paul, basically. So Logan Paul says that he is so confident that he is able to beat Jey Uso for the championship. But Gunther lost to Jey Uso. So Gunther was basically telling Logan Paul, he was like, hey, you're so confident that you could beat Jey. Well, how do you beat Jey? Because you're kind of discrediting me as a champion because Gunther lost to Jey Uso. So, Logan Paul, you go on and win the World Heavyweight Championship on Saturday night's main event. And Gunther's going to whoop your ass, basically, when it comes to the Arizona Monday Night Raw show right after Money in the Bank. Listen, I can definitely see Logan Paul potentially beating Jey Uso strictly because of interference. Listen, it was just announced that Logan Paul and Jey Uso is the main event of Saturday night's main event. God forbid, could WWE give us a shock factor moment on one of these Saturday night's main events? I'm not complaining in any way. I think it would be a fantastic move. Not that they have to have Jey Uso be the shock factor of him losing the title, but who wouldn't be posting and raving about that like crazy? Raving not in a good way, I think. I think it would just bring a lot of eyeballs to the WWE, and I think it would make a lot of noise. And I know a lot of people want to see Jey Uso continue to be the World Heavyweight Champion, but we're going to see Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, maybe even Sami Zayn turn on Jey Uso. So it's very likely that don't be surprised if Logan Paul is your World Heavyweight Champion at the end of Saturday night's main event, especially with it being announced as the main event when John Cena is on the show for Saturday night's main event. It's safe to say that Penta is no longer chasing for gold, I think, at this point. I think they had the little run that they had with Penta right when he signed with the WWE, which was just a few months ago. It's kind of crazy to think about that. But it looks like Penta, the IC title scene, he's been there, done that. So now he's I feel like he's entering the tag team scene. I think we're going to see Rey Fenix and Penta team up together. The Lucha Brothers, I think we're going to get that in the WWE. Because even on Rey Fenix's side of things on Friday Night SmackDown, we're not really seeing him be booked at all as well. And let's not make this unknown, he was literally on the WrestleMania 41 card in a one-on-one match. I know Rey Mysterio was supposed to be in that match, but they decided to trust Rey Fenix in a WrestleMania match despite him just being signed for 2 or 3 weeks, which is pretty crazy, and it just goes to show the amount of talent in Rey Fenix. And obviously, we already know the talent that Penta provides within the company and just wrestling in general. So I think pairing them up together, I hope it would be on Monday Night Raw because we need the Monday Night Raw tag team division to build something because, look, next week we're having the New Day defend it against the War Raiders and Julius Creed and Brutus Creed. Guys, those are the only tag teams in the entire division. We need some credibility on the men's tag team division on Monday Night Raw because it's looking horrendous. And I think Penta entering the tag team scene wouldn't be bad, as well as Rey Fenix. I think they would dominate. I think they could be a multi-tag team champion in the WWE. So I think that's the direction that WWE is going, especially after El Grande getting involved in the match from last night. And I could definitely see El Grande teaming up with maybe Chad Gable in a tag team match against the Lucha Brothers in Penta and Rey Fenix. The major injury that we had on the show, Zoe Stark, she was going for that nasty missile dropkick that she always delivers in pretty much every match that she is in. But she landed horribly wrong. Like, it was really bad. I thought it was a part of the match at first. I thought it was going to be an angle that Zoe Starks was going to make some sort of momentum towards the end of the match, because we haven't seen Zoe Starks in quite a long time, especially with the release of Shayna Baszler. And honestly, ever since Sonya Deville got released a few months ago, completely just erasing PFC for the end of time. But no, it was a serious injury. They went right to commercial break right after Zoe Starks landed and like completely blew out her knee. It was really bad. So prayers up to Zoe Starks. I hope it's nothing majorly serious, and I just hope she comes back as soon as possible, and wishing a speedy recovery to Zoe Starks. And in that match, we had Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is in the Money in the Bank. Is this her first Money in the Bank? I don't know if I've ever seen Rhea Ripley in a Money in the Bank match. The fact that we actually have the opportunity now to get Mommy in the Bank, could you see that on like a briefcase? Because they've been doing like the gimmicks for each briefcase winner with Tiffany Stratton. They had Tiffy Time in like the Barbie color. They had El Capione, Senior Money in the Bank. They had that for Damian Priest. I can see Mommy in the Bank. I low-key could, but that's going to be a lot of fun. The Money in the Bank match is looking to be phenomenal. We got Alexa Bliss, we got Rhea Ripley, and we also have the other winner of the Money in the Bank qualifier match from this past Monday Night Raw, Roxanne Perez, who I believe is getting that Tiffany Stratton treatment. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by Roxanne is getting the Tiffany Stratton treatment? Guys, Roxanne Perez, she stood out in the Elimination Chamber just like Tiffany Stratton. She doesn't get booked for WrestleMania, which is okay. Don't push everyone immediately. There's no rush, especially if you're talent like Roxanne Perez and Tiffany Stratton. They're super young. They have a lot of time, and they're solidified future stars in the company. Then after WrestleMania, Roxanne Perez, she shows up on the main roster a few times, just like Tiffany Stratton did, I feel like after WrestleMania 40. Then eventually, Roxanne Perez is on the main roster, and now she's competing for the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I genuinely believe Roxanne Perez is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And this wasn't the only big moment for Roxanne Perez tonight. She also is now a part of the Judgment Day. Now, this can lead to so many different things. I think it'll create a lot of animosity between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. And I actually think when it comes to SummerSlam, the SummerSlam anniversary, where it seems like Dirty Dom switches things up a little bit. And I think Dirty Dom, I saw this from Wheezy Blonde. Shout out to Wheezy Blonde. I just saw a video this morning, and it made me think this the same exact way too. I think Dirty Dom is going to switch over to Roxanne Perez when it comes to SummerSlam. And this is all credit to Wheezy, which she was saying in her video that she posted. Liv Morgan, she spent some time away, and Dominic Mysterio was all alone. Maybe Dominic is feeling jealous that Liv Morgan is filming for movies and in Tokyo and like advancing and elevating herself in life. Now, I think Dominic might be jealous because a little over a year and a half ago when Rhea Ripley was injured, or she was just taking time off, I forget which one it was, but Dominic Mysterio, that's what led Dominic to play around with Liv Morgan, and that's when Liv Morgan was playing around with Dominic Mysterio, and that led to Dominic turning on Rhea Ripley. Well, I think we could definitely see something big happening at SummerSlam in New Jersey this August. I think that would be really cool, and it just goes to show like Dominic Mysterio is our generation's Eddie Guerrero, R.I.P. Eddie Guerrero, because you could definitely see that Dominic Mysterio is the second coming of Eddie Guerrero. And lastly, shout out to Roxanne Perez, because I think WWE is doing a great job with her right off the bat. She signs the contract, and now she's affiliated in so many different storylines that they could potentially do with Roxanne Perez. And Money in the Bank qualifier match, she wins that, being a part of the Judgment Day, the main faction, well, the second main faction right behind the Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker faction on the entire show, or just honestly on the entire main roster. Kudos to Roxanne Perez, and I'm excited for what they're going to do with Roxanne in the Judgment Day. So in the beginning of the night, Seth Rollins was telling Logan Paul that this Saturday, Logan Paul has advantage because in the main event match, which was Braun Breaker against Jey Uso, Braun Breaker was supposed to damage Jey Uso and not make him 100%. Well, at the end of the match, which ended in a DQ because Seth Rollins got involved, and we actually saw Paul Heyman about to square up with Jey Uso. Dude, the pop for that was insane. And shout out to Greensville. They were electric. They were louder than, honestly, some of the recent PLEs of recent memory. It was a great crowd. And like when Paul Heyman was about to square up, that was the funniest thing ever. And the crowd loved it. The match ended in a DQ. Seth Rollins interrupted. Jey Uso didn't really take any extra damage because then we saw Sami Zayn come out and it kind of halted any type of attacking on Jey Uso from Braun and Seth. And then, dude, the pop for CM Punk when his music hit, and right before his music hit, the whole crowd was chanting for CM Punk, and it was awesome. So CM Punk comes out, Sami Zayn, they are defending Jey Uso. Jey Uso is completely separated from everyone right now, so he's just in the ring. So I don't think Seth Rollins' plan really worked out. I think Jey Uso didn't take any extra damage by Braun being in that main event match against Jey, but I just saw this morning, I didn't catch this last night after I was watching Raw, but Logan Paul showed up again at the end of the show and knocked out Jey Uso. And WWE Pro Wrestling 101 textbook, you kind of know when the person who was standing strong right before the main show or their main match, I gotta see Jey Uso winning. But there's also reasons why it could lead to Logan Paul beating Jey Uso, as it's the main event match. When you look at it on paper, I don't think it should be, unless there's something major that's going to happen, like a shock factor, like Jey Uso losing or Sami Zayn turning on Jey Uso after the match and still having Jey Uso retain. So there's a lot of different ways that WWE can go about this, and I'm very excited to see it. I think Saturday night's main event is going to be good. Wish there was a women's match on the card. Thought that was very weird. Like, how is there no women's matches at all? But I guess we'll just have to wait for Money in the Bank. But yeah, this Monday Night Raw felt like it was pretty good. Let me know your takes down below on this past Monday Night Raw. And let me know your takes for this upcoming Saturday night's main event. Who do you got winning on the match card? And what is your most highly anticipated match on the match card for Saturday night's main event? Everyone, as always, thank you so much for watching this video. And I will see you in the next one.